Okay, grade 7. Here we go, plotting functions. We've all learned about coordinate planes. Coordinate planes, of course, have the y-axis this way and your x-axis this way. We've learned about coordinate planes before, but now we're going to learn how to write functions for this. So functions always have inputs and outputs. And you can see on this graph here, we have an input and we also have an output. So that kind of gives us an idea of what the output, if we put something in, we get an output. So if we start with 1, for example, and we get to 24, what do we have to do to it? Well, we have to multiply it by 24. And you can see that we get the same thing with with 2, same thing with 5 if we multiply it by 24. Okay, so that's showing you how this works. So A is asking us, write the rule in words. So we'll multiply the number of days by 24 to get the hours. So find the missing number in the table. So we have 10. So we're going to see that we have to multiply 10 by 24, and that'll get us to 240. So the answer is 240 for B. All right, moving C, express the role of an equation using the variables given in the table. Begin with the output. So if you're going to write this as an equation, you're going to start with the output, which uses the letter H. So we write H equals. Well, what did we have to do? We learned we had to multiply by 24. So we grab our 24 times the number of days. So that's how you would write your function. You always start with your output and you go towards your input. What do we have to do to our input to get the output? Well, we have to multiply it by 24. So H equals 24D. All right. Let's move on to D. It says, on a coordinate plane, plot 4 points that satisfy this function. The number of bicycle wheels is twice the number of bicycles. And I think that was supposed to have B on there. So Y equals 2D. Okay, so now we're going to get a coordinate plane set up to show how that would work. So if we grab a coordinate plane, put our arrows on it, right? So this one here has got your Y, and this one's got your, oh, I did D over there, my mistake, it'll be B. So if we have one bicycle, we have 2 wheels. If we have 2 bicycles, we have 4 wheels. If we have 3 bicycles, we have, oh, the lines are not showing quite up, but somewhere around there, 6 wheels. So if you go look at our arrow, it would go up this way. So that's how you would graph it. It wouldn't go below 0 because if we have -1 bicycle, it doesn't mean we have -2 wheels. All right, so make a function table. So a function table would be a table that has x and y in it. All right, so here's our function table. For the function y equals 3x. Think of small whole numbers for x and then draw. So let's start with 0, 1, 2, 3. So if we go y equals 3 times, then we're going to grab the 0 for x, and then y times 3 times 1 for x, y equals 3 times 2 for x, and y equals 3 times 3 for x. That'll give us our coordinates. Okay, so if you look at this, we're going to get 0 times 3 gets us 0. 3 times 1 gets us 3. 3 times 2 gets us 6. 3 times 3 gets us 9. So now we have an idea of what it would look like. So let's just create a coordinate plane so that you can see how this looks. So 0 and 0 is one of our points. 1 and 3 is another one of our points. 2, and I might have made it a little tight, 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 and 6 is another one of our points. So I've grabbed 3 of those points, and then it says, then graph all the numbers including fractions and negative numbers. So these are just points or plots on there. In order to make a line that goes the whole way through, we're going to just connect through those dots and make sure our line goes there. And you can see, oops, let me try that one more time. Okay, so there, you have to put an arrow on there. It shows that it continues on. But it shows here, for example, that is a fraction. There's a fraction there. This is a fraction. Here are our negative numbers for that function. Okay, so that's how you would graph that. Okay, it says write the rule for the graphed function in this equation. Begin with y equals. So y equals, now we'll just grab this number. So if we have 12 equals, and then we're going to put x down, 3, what do we have to do to x to get to 12? We have to multiply it by 4. So that will show us that in order to get the answer here, we're going to make x here times 4. Another way of writing it neater would be y equals 4x. Then name another pair not named on this graph. So let's make x, see, we don't have 4 down here as x. We have 1, 2, 3, but we don't have 4. So if we go y equals 4, now we'll make x 4. That means that y equals 16. So if we're going to list that pair, we're going to have to put the x number first, which is 4, and then the y coordinate, which is 6. Much like you see in those coordinate charts, and I'll show that here, the coordinate chart here would be showing us that 0 and 0, that's x, and then we have a 1 for an x and 4. But to write them a 2 and a 8, a 3 and a 12, and now we've also figured out a 4 and a 16. You would write it this way as a coordinate pair. And that takes us to the end of your practice set. Make sure you do all of the even numbers, and I'll be available on Google Meet. Remember, grade 7, to submit your the mark that you got on the work that you corrected previously. If you have any questions about that, I'm on Google Hangouts, and I can jump on a meet.